Rewind. Alright. Welcome everybody to the PopGaming Podcast, your place for gaming news, gaming related topics, and other such nonsense. Our awesome intro was, again, created by Jonathon Tucker and Agony, and you can check them out at Robot Co-op on YouTube as well. We are your hosts, one short for this week, but I am Dee.
I'm Scott.
I'm Matt.
And, let's get gaming.
Yeah, so we got a ton of news today, so I guess
So
we'll
much
jump
news.
right into PS5, or the PlayStation news.
Yeah, so Sony announced some specs for their new system. They didn't call it PS5, but I mean, let's be real.
We can all figure it out.
This thing's kind of ridiculous. Some of it I don't understand what it means. Some of it I do. But first, they said it's going to have an AMD chip at its core, which is part of the AMD Ryzen line. That's actually what my laptop has. Kind of cool. Not the one that's going to have. It's got 8 cores of ZNM Zen 2 architecture. That I don't know what it means, but sounds cool.
Yeah.
It's going to have a custom unit for 3D audio, which that's really neat. I've got an Xbox, and I have Dolby Atmos for my one headset. What that allows me to do is basically hear positional audio. So if I'm playing like Apex Legends or something, I can hear where shots are coming from, like exactly where they're coming from.
That's pretty cool.
So I'm excited that Sony's going to have that now because they haven't had that really. The GPU is a custom variant of Radeon's Navi family. That's going to allow ray tracing. Do you guys know what ray tracing is?
I've heard of it, but I could not recite what it does off the top of my head.
Basically, ray tracing is a way of... I'm pulling up the exact definition so I don't fuck it up when I'm telling you. Basically, it's a rendering technique that will generate an image by tracing the path of light as pixels in the image plane and simulating the effects of it encounters with virtual objects. So it's going to look really fucking cool.
Nice.
It's definitely ahead of its time. There's not many that do that, I believe. I don't think there's anything that does that except like PCs.
Right.
The big thing that everybody thought, they were like, okay, Xbox is possibly going download only. What's Sony going to do? They have announced it will not be download only, so it will have a disk drive. So if you're a fan of physical media like myself, you'll be a fan. Especially if you have like shit internet, like I apparently do today. If you're download only, streaming only, there's gonna be days where you're not gonna be able to play your games if you're that streaming only family. So this is nice that they're gonna have an option to use a disc. The next big thing, which is really cool, is it's going to include a solid state drive, an SSD. That's something you can find typically in computers. It's a hard drive, but it's going to make everything run way faster. No system has that yet. You can install it on like the original PS4s, but it took some know-how. What they showed was, and we all played Spider-Man, I believe. Devin, did you?
Oh yeah.
Did you play Spider-Man?
No, I'm not into it.
So when you would fast travel, it would have. They showed it. It would be 15 seconds of load time, which doesn't sound a lot. But if you think about it, 15 seconds of doing nothing is a lot. This SSD cut it down to 0.8 seconds.
Whoa.
Yeah. That's ridiculous. The next thing, and this really isn't going to impact, I think, anybody yet, because TVs really don't do this.
Yeah, this is future-proofing.
Yeah, 8K gaming. We're only seeing 8K with like high-end gaming PCs, so it's cool that Sony's like, we're gonna get this ready for when it is time. I don't think this is happening for a while, but it's cool they're looking ahead.
Right.
This next one, which I think is gonna make everybody happy, is it's going to be backwards compatible with PS4.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm so excited.
So you don't have to worry about losing all the games that you bought for your PS4. As I'm like spitting all over myself, I'm sorry. I started
He's
talking.
so excited. He's salivating.
I started talking with coffee still in my mouth, and it just didn't go well. That's exciting. I don't think we see anything more though with PS3, just because the way they built that thing. I think that's going to be kind of gone forever, unfortunately, unless you're using PlayStation now. Or hope that somehow they figured out. I don't expect it. The next one, I'm going to skip over this next one. I'm going to talk about this final part first. They've said that the VR will work with the new system. They've got a new one in development, plus the original model will work with the new PlayStation, which that's really cool because I was not looking forward to having to buy a new VR.
Right, buying a new system and a new VR set.
Yeah,
that would be really expensive.
I was really annoyed that I possibly would have had to got something again. I was like, I don't want to do that. But the big one here, they asked, and I believe this whole thing is from IGN. That's at least where I got my info.
It's actually, this interview was with Mark Cerny from Wired.
Okay.
That's where all the info came from.
Okay. Excuse me. I got my stuff from IGN, but I wasn't aware where the original info got posted. The price, they asked what that was, and they were told the price will be appealing to gamers.
So what does that mean?
So what that tells me, if you remember the PlayStation 3, that was what, 600?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 600. This tells me this will not be 600. This tells me at the most $499 to match the Xbox One X. If they really want to give a big fuck you to Microsoft, $399. Because at that point, you can spend $499 and get the last gen One X, or you can spend $399 and get the new console. But I'm thinking $499.
Was it when PS4 and Xbox One came out? Wasn't PS4's? It was cheaper than Xbox.
I think they were both 400.
Yeah, it's just a lot of what Xbox was doing kind of turned people off to the Xbox.
I've always been a Sony girl since, how old am I? 22 years.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
I think it's going to be, at max $499 because they saw what happened when you make it too expensive. No one fucking buys it.
Yep.
$499 is still like...
$49's a lot, but for something like this, I can justify it. I justified the Xbox One X for $499.
Right.
Because this is like high-end gaming PC stuff, and this stuff's thousands. So I can live with $499. Like I said, though, if they really want to, give the finger to Microsoft, make it $399, and
That'd be awesome.
that would be ridiculous. I don't think that'll happen. I think that's a little too much because the companies, they know they're going to lose money on their hardware, but that's like a big loss.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I could see them maybe like making it $449.99 or something like that, just a little bit under 500, just kind of appease gamers. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. One other thing we didn't put in here, but they did say that this is not coming out in 2019, so this could be either 2020 or 2021 by the time this is released.
Yeah. And what do you want to bet that? Sorry, my allergies are killing me. What do you want to bet that Final Fantasy VII will be coming out with the new console?
I'm sorry to say, Devin, but I think Final Fantasy VII is just not coming out.
You shut your mouth, Scott.
So here's why I don't think that's happening. They've said Kingdom Hearts 3 was their big focus, and once they got that off, it was all hands on deck for Final Fantasy VII. I'm thinking Final Fantasy VII is the end of the year. I think Final Fantasy 16 will come out with the new system, but Final Fantasy VII will come out on the PS4, Xbox One.
Oh,
Heard it here first. Hot take.
Oh, you heard it from Matt.
Yeah, and also, I think someone had asked Mark Cerny about the games that have already been announced, like Ghost of Tsushima, Death Stranding, and they're saying, will these be PS5 games or will they still be on the PS4? And he said, well, when we announced Death Stranding and all those, we said they were PS4. So what I'm thinking is they will be end of the PS4 era that will be able to, in maybe a like updated version for PS5.
It's gonna be like The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Original Last of Us was at the very end of the PS3 lifespan. So I think they're all going to come out for the PS4, and we will see a remastered or an updated version on the whatever it's called next.
Right. And I'm cool with that because I just want to get my hands on Ghost of Tsushima so bad.
Just play Sekiro.
I don't want to get good, Matt.
Oh, it's not that hard.
He wants to play baby games, right?
Exactly.
It's not that hard.
Yeah. Well, that's coming from you as well, so.
I can hear myself. No, I can't. We're good.
But yeah, I am excited to see where they like the more information that comes out about this, because I love this time of year when like the speculation starts and we can start seeing like what the councils will be capable of.
They give us little crumbs.
I definitely think we see something at E3 about it. That wouldn't surprise me.
Well, the thing is though, Sony's not going to be at E3 this year.
Yeah.
Well, they'll do something around it.
Yeah, maybe they'll do the state of play right before.
Yeah, they're not going to be at E3, but they're going to be at E3. Like, no one's going to convince me otherwise. I know they say they're not going to be there. They are going to do something where there's still a presence. Whether they're there or not, we're still going to hear something that week from Sony.
Oh yeah, I'm sure, because I think they're gonna kind of underhandedly mess with Microsoft and just be like, "Oh, we're gonna announce something, even though we're not there. We're still gonna just put our heels in."
Yeah.
Wait, what did you stop yourself from saying, Scott?
I don't even remember actually.
some phallic thoughts there, Scott.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I distinctly heard dick.
Okay, they are probably gonna whip their dicks out. I'm sure about that.
There
E3
it
is a
is.
big pissing contest. It's like who's got the it really is, but it's one fun pissing contest to watch.
Right, exactly. Because I'm sure we'll hear more from Xbox about their next gen console as well come E3.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna have to somehow make it up after their streaming and digital box, which is, if I'm being blunt, kind of a joke.
Oh yeah, the all streaming one that just got announced.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't $249.99, then maybe you don't have an issue, but
Yeah, that was a bit high of a price because like you can get pretty much the Xbox One S for $250 almost all the time wherever you look.
yep. So it's I don't know. I think it's a big mess up now. I think they're at the end of their lifespan with that, so it's like, fuck it, we'll do whatever we want, try stuff.
Well, I think
Right.
the idea of streaming all the time, it's such a bad idea. It's such a bad idea. Like with your point, if you don't have reliable internet, because what was it? What's the PlayStation subscription one where
PS Now.
PS Now? I did the little trial period of PS Now. It's so unreliable that, and it's not great. I didn't have a good experience with it. So to think that you're paying $250 to be able to have just streaming, I don't know.
And I'm still skeptical on streaming like anything over physical, like movies and all that, because after a while, like they could lose the rights to a game, and then all of a sudden, oh, there goes your game that you paid for. And
Yeah.
like I don't know if it's the same for video games or not, but I know with like iTunes and stuff like that, I've bought movies and they've disappeared from my collection after I paid for them because they lost the rights to them.
That whole thing's weird. You look at like there's I don't think there's any clarity on it because Sony won't say. But like, excuse me. You look at PT.
Yeah.
That was one that got pulled from the marketplace. As long as you still have it downloaded, you can still play it. I believe the idea is that if you buy something digitally and it gets pulled from the marketplace, if you still have it on your system, you're good. But you can't re-download it. Now, I could be wrong, and
Well, if you think about it this way, with the Friday the 13th, they lost. I mean, the whole thing was rights and things like that, and they didn't pull the game. In fact, you could still get the game, but
they just stopped all the DLC.
Yeah, this is more like if like a good one, and I'm gonna talk about some anime shit here. There's a fighting game similar to Jump Force. It's called J-Stars Victory Versus Plus. You can only buy it physically now. It got removed from the marketplace because of the licensing ran out, and they didn't want to renew it because it was too expensive. That one, I believe, if you don't have it downloaded, or if you had it downloaded and let's say you get a new system, you don't have that game anymore. Like I said, I could be wrong with that, but that's kind of the impression I get.
Right. I guess that makes more sense because I was more comparing to like iTunes and stuff like that because I have like lost movies from that, and that's why I'm so stubborn in saying I will own my collection of movies because I do not want to lose like anything that I paid for.
VHS forever, man.
Well, I have my VHS and my Laserdiscs, but I'm not that big of a collection of either.
Oh, I do.
All right, you guys. Well, I assume that we will have more information on the PS5 or whatever they're going to call it a little bit closer to maybe summertime, I would think. But it looks like that Assassin's Creed has been releasing some awesome DLCs lately, and they are coming out with a new one, and I'm so excited because I love it.
This looks like a full-blown expansion.
Yeah, this looks like a game in itself. And
looks pretty neat.
I have always had a fascination with the story of Atlantis and the fact that we get to basically, I'm so excited. But did you guys see the requirements to do it?
No.
You have to be a certain level, which is fine. You have to beat the game. You have to beat another side quest. And there's a shortcut. Which is you have to be at least level 52. But if you start the Fate of Atlantis quest with a shortcut, you don't get any trophies and you don't get to save, I don't believe.
Really?
Yeah, so you have to do, I think it's 4 steps or something to get to Fate of Atlantis. And you have to do it that way to get all of your trophies. But if you don't, then you don't get your trophies. You don't get any accomplishments or things like that.
Yeah, no, I saw they were doing the shortcut. I mean, I was on the ad of that, but I didn't quite see exactly the requirements for it. I figured it would just be a paid level boost. Because Final Fantasy 14 does that, where if you don't want to do the main story, you just want to get to the end, you can pay to just jump levels.
Right. That's kind of like what World of Warcraft does too. I thought this was supposed to be a standalone DLC, you could buy it separately as well, and you didn't need the original game.
You know what? I'm looking. I saw this on Polygon, and I'm gonna read.
Okay.
I'm gonna read you what they said. And this is straight from. Let's see. This is what they quoted from. This is a 30. You could get it with. It'll be included in the $39.99 season pass, or by itself $24.99. Following the main game, players will have to complete the quest line Between Two Worlds, the mythological main story arc, and Heir of Memories, the Lost Tales of Greece quest line that is available after completing the former quest line, and they must be level 28 or above. Otherwise, players will be able to use a shortcut created specifically for those who would like to play the Fate of Atlantis but do not fulfill the above conditions. Thanks to this shortcut, players will enter Greece level 52 with preset abilities and resources, enabling them to start their adventure into the afterlife with the Lost Tales of Greece questline Heir of Memories. They will also have the opportunity to choose their hero. However, contrary to the previous option, players' progression using the shortcut will not carry over to the main game save, and they will not be able to obtain achievements.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't think that necessarily says you can't save. It just
Well,
you'd have to do a different.
can't-
It would be another file.
Right. That's what. Yeah. You can't save it to your main So your progression in Fate Atlantis will not show in what you normally play unless you do it through all those steps. Yeah. That's it.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
So that means I need to start getting my ass in gear and start playing AC Odyssey.
Yeah. It's so good. It's so good.
I think it's cool though that they're consistently updating the game.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they said they were not releasing an Assassin's Creed game this year, which cool. It's nice that they kept adding stuff to keep you playing. I dipped out of this a while ago. I haven't gone back. Not that I didn't like it. I loved it. There's a lot to play.
Yeah, too many games. Though, one thing I did want to mention too, I don't know if I think this is just rumors right now, but I guess the next Assassin's Creed is going to be Ragnarok, so it's going to be Viking themed.
I've heard that. I've heard Japan. I've heard a whole bunch of things.
That would be cool.
I know Japan was always.
We already have Ragnarok coming.
That's true.
With God of War, man.
Yeah,
that is very true.
I know Japan's always been the one they've been teasing for a while, but I'm not positive what they're gonna do.
Yeah, we have till 2020 to find out, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm way more interested in Japan than I am any sort of like Norse mythology. There's enough of that.
Yeah, it would be kind of, there is a lot of Norse mythology, but I would like to see some more like Japanese mythology because there really isn't a lot.
Okay, can I interject and say there's a ton of Japanese games about Japanese mythology and Norse mythology and things like that. When are we gonna get Chinese mythology? All we got is Dynasty Warriors.
That is true.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, there's a lot of like areas with mythology that we could really dive into, like that we haven't touched.
I'm assuming it's just not as how do I say it? It's not as like
well known, maybe.
Yeah, like Japan's really popular. Not that China isn't, but like Japan definitely has that like following to it.
That's true, but I mean, Chinese mythology and Indian mythology, just their whole it's so cool. Can you imagine playing with like a multi-armed
it's cool for
goddess?
Sure.
It's awesome.
It's definitely cool, but like they got to look at what the money is.
Money.
And yeah, I feel like Japan's probably where the money is.
Well, people just don't.
We'll see. We got some time.
Yeah, I'm sure Ubisoft will announce something at E3 about that as well, like maybe just like a quick little tease.
I'd be excited for like maybe something South America.
Ooh, yeah.
Like Aztec, something like that. That'd be neat. But once again, I don't think that happens.
Yeah, we may eventually get there, but yeah, not for a little while, I don't think.
Cool. Yeah. You want to move on to the next thing?
Yeah, looks like it's the last piece of our news.
Yeah, so I would say I can tackle this one because.
Yep, this is all you, Matt.
I'm all about this. So
it's Matt's news day today.
Seriously, you guys shouldn't let me do the news. I'm just gonna pick shit I like. So Joker from Persona 5 is in Smash. This is the first piece of DLC for Smash Brothers Ultimate for the Switch. I finally bought the Fighter Pass last night, and I was playing Joker, and it's phenomenal. I'm real bad with him. He is definitely different from what I normally play. I'm usually a Cloud or Marth main. Yeah, so what's cool with this is it included not just songs from Persona 5, but they also include stuff from Persona 3 and 4.
Oh, that's cool.
which is neat. Don't forget Persona 1 and 2 Atlas, but that's fine. Um, the stage is Mementos from Persona 5. Have you guys played Persona 5?
I've played
Yeah.
a little, not a lot.
I've played about 25 hours, which means I'm about 0.5% into the game.
Yeah, I
It's
don't
like-
even know. I don't even know if you've made it to Mementos yet. You might have.
It's been a while. I haven't played for a
Yes.
while.
So Mementos is this world in Persona 5, but that's what the stage is themed after. What's really cool is depending on the song you play, the stage will change colors. So if you play a Persona 5 song, the stage is going to be red because that's what Persona 5's main color is. Persona 4 will be yellow and Persona 3 will be blue. That was really neat.
That's kind of cool.
My favorite part though is when you use your taunt move, Morgana shows up and will say a line from the game. I'm a big Morgana fan.
I love your notes here. Morgana appears when you taunt, and that's really all that matters.
Yeah.
If you recall the very first episode of PopGaming Podcast, Matt is the one who wishes that he could be a talking cat in a Japanese school outfit.
Yeah.
True.
I have a Morgana tattoo. We have a painting in my apartment of my cat Blue as Morgana. So I mean, I'm a big Morgana fan. This is really what I wanted to see in Smash. Morgana. If you haven't played Persona 5, he is a talking. Don't call him a cat.
Yep.
He's a talking thing.
Snarky.
Yeah, he's got an attitude. He's really funny. And that's what made Persona 5 so fun for me because I thought he was hilarious. So I was really hoping that with the Smash Joker DLC, we would see him plus the other characters from the game, which we'll get to that. But Morgana appears. I kept spamming the looking cool Joker taunt last night. So it's awesome. This is some of my favorite DLC ever because it's just so perfect. The cool thing with one of Joker's moveset is when you've taken a certain amount of damage, your rebellion gauge fills up, which then allows Joker to summon his persona Arsene, which is your first persona in the game. So like, it's funny because he is all right at first, and then becomes pretty weak once you start getting other personas you confuse. And if you watch the release trailer for this, the one that they did to show his moveset about the update and everything, they even comment you couldn't have picked a more powerful persona. So they're making fun of it. They're acknowledging. But Arsene is like the poster boy persona. I think is probably the best word I can say it. So that's why he's there. I'm way better when I don't have Arsene. When I don't have him summoned in Smash, I perform better. It's whenever I get him, I try to do too many fancy shit, and I end up losing. And then the final Smash, which is their like ultimate attack, is probably the best way. Special move, whatever, is the all-out attack from Persona 5, which you've probably seen an all-out attack, Scott. I don't know if you have. But basically, it just makes all of your party attack all at once, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's heavy. Usually ends the fight, and that's pretty much what this happens. Depending on what happens, you will get the win screen from Persona 5.
Nice.
Victory screen. You'll see Morgana as a bus because Morgana turns into a bus.
Of course she does.
Because why not? It's a he, Sky.
Yeah, it's a boy.
Oh.
Morgana's a boy.
Morgana's a boy.
He is in love with Lady An. It's the reason I didn't romance An in the game because I didn't want to break his heart.
Aww.
Yeah, I found out what happens if you romance An. He kind of walks away dejected. So
Aww.
I was like, I can't hurt him. So I basically rejected. I basically rejected on it every chance I got because I didn't want to fall into a romance plot with her because
Bros before hoes.
at 100%. What's cool though too is like I mentioned that you see some of the other characters in the background. You'll see them there like kind of dancing, which was kind of cool.
Oh, nice.
It was awesome. I had a big smile on my face. We were only playing the Memento stage last night. We didn't pick any other stage, which was it was cool. Big fan. A+ Nintendo.
Yeah, which makes me wonder if we'll start seeing a lot more Persona stuff on Switch now because when they announced this.
So like, I want Persona 5 on the Switch, but like I don't. Like I'll totally play it again. I will 100% buy it on any platform I can. But like I like it being exclusive. I like it just being a PS4 thing. Like that's and a PS3, I guess. Give me a Vita port. Fuck the Switch. Give me the Vita port. It lives.
Yes, Vita does live, but it's just hanging on by a thread, unfortunately.
I mean, I've told everybody my thoughts on this new Persona news. We got Persona 5R, the Royal, and then we got this new Persona 5S. I've been telling everybody my prediction is Persona 5S is going to be a fighting game, probably like Stadium, because Persona 4A was Persona 4 Arena, and that was a fighting game.
Gotcha.
And I think that's going to be on all the platforms. And then I think Persona 5R will be like Persona 4 Golden, and that's going to be a PS4 exclusive.
Oh, okay.
Persona 4 Golden is literally just Persona 4 with some extra stuff.
Okay, because that's the only one that I've actually played like 40-something hours in.
Yeah, I think Persona 5R is just going to be the golden version of Persona 5. That'll be a PS4 exclusive, extra content, and then we'll just get the fighting games on the other systems.
Nice.
I've got no knowledge on that. That is me just kind of like spitballing, but
Hey, you're a big enough fan that you kind of probably. I'm gonna take your word for this because
that's my idea. Yeah, that's my idea. It would surprise me to see the straight up Persona 5 on the Switch.
Yeah, because I would be shocked, but at the same time happy.
Yeah, like I said, I just want a Vita port, man. Sony, give me it. Give me the Vita port.
I'm sorry to tell you, Matt, but I don't think Sony's paying attention to Vita anymore.
Oh. Make the Vita 2.
Persona
5, cool. Vita 2 launch title. There we go. Once again,
yeah.
Another hot take from Matt.
Matt's just full of hope, isn't he?
Cool. See, I mean, I think that's really it.
Have dreams.
Sweet summer child. I think that's really it for Persona 5's DLC for Smash. It's really good. Definitely recommend picking it up. You do get a lot of other stuff with it. They did announce the stage builder, which has been announced before, but that's finally in with the version 3.0 update. Haven't tried that out yet because it's not really my thing. But I've seen a lot of people doing some cool stuff. A lot of penises. A whole lot of penises.
Of course.
Did I just like black out for a second? What?
So they made the stage editor for Smash, and people are making a whole lot of penis-shaped stages.
When you give anybody with internet capabilities the access to create something, it's always going to be penis.
I was reading my notes, and all of a sudden I heard so many penises, and I'm like, you don't say?
It's that bad that Nintendo has people solely looking for penis-shaped stages.
Wow.
That's where it's at now. So that's Nintendo they don't learn. They don't learn.
No, they do not.
Give the people away, and they'll draw dicks with it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I guess we can.
Huh?
Should probably put a pin in that one.
Yeah. You get out, Scott.
All right, I'll let you go for it, D.
I was gonna say that's all the news we have for this week, but looks like you guys are playing a lot. So what are we playing this week? Do
you want me to go first, or do you want to
I I can go first since I only have one game that I've been playing this week.
Yeah, I got a whole lot.
Yeah, you do.
Playing a lot.
But yeah, like you guys know, I've been kind of just didn't have a lot of time, and I've been kind of in that phase where I'm like, I want something to play, but I don't know what. So I decided, or I was going through my library and completely forgot that I bought Detroit Become Human from Quantic Dream.
I think that's good.
It is very good.
It is awesome. Very, very awesome. Like, when I came across it on my library, I'm going, holy shit, I forgot I bought this. Like, I think I got it during, like, the Christmas sale. And so, yeah, I downloaded it and started playing it. I got instantly hooked. I'm wanting to say I'm about 50% of the way through the game now. But, yeah, the story is intriguing. Just the many branches that the story can go in is incredible. And they always, because there's 3 different characters you play as. What was it? Kara, Connor, and Marcus.
Yep.
And after each, like, it'll go between each one as like a chapter for each character. And after the chapter is done, a flow chart will come up showing you all the possibilities of like what you could have like done and like the choices that could have been made. And some of these flowchart trees get insane with all the different paths you can take. Just so much. And I could see myself playing this multiple times, like down the road. I'm not the type to replay video games very often, like single player ones. But yeah, I can see myself coming back to this because the story's cool. I want to see what the different branches will do and affect how these characters will play out. But yeah, this is a high recommend for me if you haven't played it. I know I'm a bit behind on this game because it came out probably about a couple months,
Came out in May of last year.
Yeah,
almost a year now.
Yep, and finally got around to it. I mean, the story is very heavy-handed. Like David Cage is good at that, but like the whole androids only being allowed to sit on the back of the bus. It's very heavy-handed of like times that were. But yeah, this is a really awesome game. A lot of people were asking me like how to describe the style, and I would say it reminds me of the old school point and click games, just modernized.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. I mean, I love Detroit Become Human, so I'm all about it. Jesse Williams was my favorite part of that whole game. I thought he was just phenomenal.
Yeah, well, and that was the other thing too. I wanted to say, I became a huge fan when I realized Clancy Brown was in this as a character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love
that was
Clancy
pretty
Brown.
cool. I watched Game Grumps play it, and they were talking about Clancy Brown, and I'm just like, so I haven't played it myself, but I've watched quite a bit of gameplay. It looks interesting, and you get like really, really attached to people.
Oh yeah.
When I played it, I basically said that no matter what happened, I wasn't going to start over, and there was some wild stuff that happened in my playthrough. I mean, I finished it, so I'm not going to spoil anything. Definitely really good. Not one I've gone back to yet because there's so many other things I need to play, but will be. It's one of those ones that like when I'm finally like not doing anything, I think I'll go back to it because I just loved the story so much. It was very pretty too. I thought it was just a gorgeous game.
Yeah, it's probably one of the prettiest games I've seen on the system yet. And that's saying something when you have God of War.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that's all I've been playing. So, you look confused, Evan.
I disagree with that. I mean, it is pretty, but I think God of War was prettier. 100%.
Yeah, see, God of War didn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hot take from Matt again.
I'm full of them, man. I'm full of them.
When you walk into like the section with like the forest, and you walk and you see her tree, her house, turtle house, rise up from the ground, and there's so much color, and there's red everywhere, and the big turtle tree house thing comes out, and I'm just like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And you were so wrong, Matthew. Oh,
Yeah, it just
oh,
it just didn't do it for me. Like it was, how do I say it?
I need the shame bell. Shame, shame.
shame,
God of War
shame, yes.
was just okay.
Ugh.
It
Those be
felt
fighting words.
it felt like Horizon, and if I had to pick between the two, I'd pick Horizon 10 out of 10 times. So
Yeah,
hot takes.
yeah, I can't agree there, Matt.
Hot takes.
So disappointed. I only have one game that I've been playing too, kinda, but the one
Yes.
game that I'm talking about this week is
Can't talk about the other one.
Can't talk about the other one, but I could talk about this one. World War Z. I didn't think I was gonna like it, just because I'm like, this is too much like
Left 4
mind
Dead.
blanked out. Too much like Left 4 Dead. You know, too much. It's too similar. You know, it's just like a barn burner. You just go and you shoot. You know, that's it. The zombies die easily and all that. So much more fun than I thought it was gonna be. Because not only do you have like you can pick there's episodes, so like there's New York, Jerusalem, Moscow, and Tokyo. And then you have 3 chapters in those episodes. So you can always go, you can pick which ones. You can do either multiplayer, or you can do co-op, which is and online co-op between your friends. There's no couch co-op, which is stupid.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Stupid. But I mean, even playing solo, it's fine because you still always have backup. Like the AI is pretty good that you always have backup.
Is it like playing solo Left 4 Dead where it's like
No, this is for the most part they really have your back. They follow you. And what's really cool is there's different classes. So you have stuff like gunslinger, slasher, medic, hellraiser, and there's one more. And so you pick your class. So you can pick your character, but then you can pick your class. And you can build on your class however you like to play. So like slasher is heavier into melee fighting and stamina. Gunslinger is better with weapons. Hellraiser, you start off with C4. And there's one for crowd control. Medic will start with a free med pack. You know, there's that. And so you can kind of build your own experience how you prefer playing it. You can build fortifications, turrets, so that is it similar in the way where you have to get from point A to point B, and then when you get to point B you have to fight off a horde? Yes, although there's much more in volume of the undead than in Left 4 Dead, and they're very fast. So it has that typical World War Z climbing up the wall in Jerusalem kind of thing going on. But there's a scene in the very, very beginning. So it's not like spoiling anything. Basically, in New York, in the very beginning, a helicopter left without you. And when the helicopter flies off, it's creating a lot of noise. Just a sea of the undead are just running through the streets of New York, clawing over each other. It's like water, and you can hear it. So the noise is like so loud in the building that you're in because you can see them flowing through the streets, and it almost gives you like ugh, like because of how many people had to die to you know to be that many zombies. It's a lot better than I thought.
That's
good to hear.
Sounds interesting. It felt like a Left 4 Dead clone, which I'm usually like. I wasn't a huge Left 4 Dead fan, so anytime I'm like, Left 4 Dead clone, once again, a game not for me. This one actually looks kind of cool.
No, this is really cool. I've only played New York. I haven't played any of the other ones yet, so this is solely based on making it through. I've been trying to play New York on different classes just so I can kind of get an idea before I move on to different ones. But that's just like bare bones. Like I'm reviewing it for a website, and so I'm going to be going head first into that for the review, but bare bones just laying it out there, better than I expected.
Cool.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Especially for I forget what they call that, but like based off a property title like that.
Yeah, it gives you that nostalgic feeling without feeling like you're playing the exact same game. I do have there's some negative things about it, but for the most part, it's definitely more fun than I thought it was going to be.
That's good. Yeah, the whole no couch co-op definitely disappoints. That's for sure.
That is disappointing. Yeah, that's a big negative. But you know what? Maybe if enough people want it, maybe there'll be an update where they allow it. Who knows?
That would be cool.
Right. Yeah, that would make this worth looking into for me if I could do that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Cool. So, is it my turn to talk
It's
about
you,
everything I've been playing, because I've been playing a lot. So I finished Final Fantasy X, which I had said in the first episode that I was on, that I was doing a Final Fantasy game a month. Finished Final Fantasy X. I'm still upset. Still very, very sad if you haven't finished it before. It is a kick in the teeth, the whole game.
Yes, it is.
It's still one of my favorite. It's probably my second favorite Final Fantasy game ever, though. It's really good. The remaster, while it looks good in some things, some of the facial animations, they're super dead behind the eyes, which is disappointing because the original, they were pretty expressive. So that was a disappointment, but loved it. I'm probably gonna jump into 10-2 soon, just because I don't want to leave the land of Spira yet.
Oh, and you gotta change those outfits.
Yeah, the dress sphere. I think it's one of the best like leveling systems in any games ever. So I'm excited to actually do that again and play through that.
Yeah, the last time I played through 10-2, I muted it because I just could not stand the voice acting throughout the whole thing. It just was
Oh, I love
in my
it.
ears.
I mean, I accept it for what it is. I know it's definitely not as serious as 10 is. I don't want to get too spoilery. I know it's been out for forever, but I don't want to. I mean, I think 10 has a pretty big plot twist towards the end, and I don't.
Yeah.
10-2 kind of ties directly into that, and I don't want to spoil that, so I'm not going to talk about that. But I've also been playing Borderlands 2, still solo. Still solo, because
I don't know how you can do that shit, man. I don't have the patience.
you
No.
just get really good. But I've been using the DLC character. I've never used Gage. She is the Necromancer. She's actually, I think, the easiest one to play solo with, if I'm being blunt. That's what I found with her. I usually use Maya or Axton. But Gage she can summon a robot partner to help her. It's called Death Trap. He is super powerful.
Hi.
And I kind of spam him. He's great. The one thing with her, which is really interesting, you have to build anarchy with her. So basically, to build anarchy, you shoot and you never reload your gun too early. So you basically use all your bullets and then auto reload. And the more anarchy she builds, the more damage she does, but her accuracy declines heavily. So it's a weird like mechanic, but I love it. I've been having a lot of fun with her. She's become my favorite character to play with. It's a lot of fun though. I mean, Borderlands 3 hype got me jumping back into Borderlands 2. Gage is great. Then the other thing I've been playing, we went and saw Alita Battle Angel, and I loved it. So I've been like wanting that kind of like post-apocalyptic cyberpunk kind of vibe going on with everything I do. So I jumped into Fist of the North Star, Lost Paradise. Are you guys familiar with Fist of the North Star?
I've heard of it.
Mm-mm.
No. So basically, Fist of the North Star is a anime manga from Shonen Jump. So if you play Jump Force, J-Stars, Kenshiro, your main character, he is in that. But think Mad Max, kind of. So it's not cyberpunk, but it's kind of that post-apocalyptic road warrior type thing. But you play Kenshiro, this this kind of, I don't want to say wanderer, but he is this. I don't even know if I want to call him a master, but I guess master of this ancient martial art that uses hidden channel points to basically kill your opponents from within. It's ridiculous. Basically, he touches these points and they just explode. It's
Nice.
super violent.
Is that something somebody can learn?
I mean,
I feel like I might need that in my life.
Yeah, maybe it's wild. The gameplay is very similar. It's made by Sega, so the gameplay is very similar to the Yakuza series. Not as open. I mean, Yakuza, open world for the most part, kind of do whatever you want, whenever you want. Battles kind of start in the streets, so you jump in and out of battles really quick. Fist of the North Star is a little more instanced. So battles will take you to a separate. Think old, random encounters in Final Fantasy games. You go to a loading screen, you go to a battle, you leave loadings, all that stuff. It's kind of what happens with Fist of the North Star, but it's a brawler. So you just beat people up. Lots of mini games. It's really fun. It's one that I've had for a little bit now. Finally, really diving into it just because I needed something to do until May starts when I can play Final Fantasy VI. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I definitely recommend it. The voice acting is a little ridiculous. I didn't expect it to have an English dub, but it does, and it's not very good.
Nice.
The appearance of the characters is real bad too, because you got to remember this is from the 80s. So like Kenshiro's got a mullet, big old shoulder pads. Most of the guys have like colored mohawks and stuff. It's ridiculous.
That's funny.
But yeah, that's what I've been playing. Just lots of shooting and killing.
Yeah, it sounds like you've been playing quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I was staying up until 2-3 a.m. to finish Final Fantasy X, and then I finally did. So now I need something else to take up my time and keep me from getting sleep.
Yeah, hopefully once I finish Detroit, I will have a list of games to talk about because I downloaded a bunch of indie games to play, but I'm going to finish Detroit first.
Cool.
But I guess we can move into our final segment, which is we are going to be talking about our top 5 games of video games of all time. The way I want to do this is, we go from 5 being, our lowest on our top 5, and then go down to our number 1.
Oh, I just listed mine randomly.
That's kind of what I figured. That's why I wanted to bring this up, like before we started talking about it.
Okay.
That's why if you see mine numbered on the outline going down.
I just have mine in reverse order, so it's not a big deal.
Okay, I'm gonna have to think.
If you want, I can go first. So that way, Devin, you have time to. I have you last, so you can just be the last person to go, so you have time to figure it out.
Okay.
Cool. So for number 5, I did Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, PSP game, re-released on the PS4, and I think PS3. Basically, it takes place before Kingdom Hearts 1.
Oh, this is the one that okay.
Yeah. You follow Aqua, Terra, and Ventus. It's definitely the saddest Kingdom Hearts game. It's very sad because that trio is pretty tragic. I don't want to spoil anything because Kingdom Hearts 3 is still going on. It's real good. You play it, like I said, you got 3 different playthroughs. You're probably looking like 30 hours total. It's got a real good story though.
Nice.
It was one of those ones I didn't want to stop playing. I really, really enjoyed it. Pain in the ass at times. I got my ass kicked in the final Terra boss a few times, and then finally got it turned around. So next, I said Persona 5. I've always liked the Persona series. I remember getting Persona 4 and 3 on the PS2 when I was far too young to have them, and they've always been enjoyable. Persona 5 really finally nailed everything with style and gameplay and the characters. Everything about it was just like, wow, this is great. It is a beast of a game. I mean, I think Dee said she's like 25 hours in, and she's like,
I got it.
You don't even have all the characters yet. I have somebody that's told me they were almost near the end, and they told me where they were at, and I was like, you are still missing like 3 party members. You're
Holy crap.
You're not even close. It's got a lot going on, so it's not for everybody with how long it is. But I enjoyed it. I'm constantly thinking about going back to it. I just got to find time.
Yeah, that's one that I have and I've played a little bit of, and I was like, all right, I really liked what I played, and I want to go back and play it. But the time sink is very intimidating, and
yeah,
just gotta find that extra time for it is gonna be tough.
When I played it, it's all I did. It's all I played. I didn't touch anything else, and it was so weird when I was finally done with it. I felt like this gap where I was like, I don't know what to do now. So I started Persona 5 over again. And I didn't finish that playthrough. I stopped. I found other things to play, but it's a lot. I think it was 120 hours for me to beat the game.
Wow.
So that's a lot. Number 3 on my list, I said Fallout 2. So this is, I'll give a disclaimer here. Fallout 2 is not my favorite Fallout game. Fallout 3 is actually my favorite Fallout game, but it's not the best Fallout game, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think Fallout 2 is one of the greatest games ever made. Just the choices you can make. Like, I think a lot of games say, "Oh, your choices will consequences and all that stuff." I think Fallout 2 is finally the one that like gets that. You can do whatever you want, really. I believe you can be a porn star if you want. Like it's ridiculous.
Nice.
I also like the battle system. It's turn-based, so there's more thinking to it rather than like Fallout 3, Fallout 4, New Vegas, whatever, even 76, where it's that real-time combat where it's a shooter essentially. Fallout 2 is a turn-based RPG, and they got it right. I was really excited when I found out that Xbox can stream Steam games now from your PC.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
I can play Fallout 2 on my TV.
Okay, that's awesome.
Nice.
I keep hoping for like a revamp or a remaster or a port or something of Fallout 2 and 1. I know it's not going to happen because Bethesda is not the ones that made that.
And that was Cinemax, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe that's who it was. It'll never happen, but I mean, one can dream. Number 2, I said, and fittingly, number 2, Kingdom Hearts 2.
Nice.
This is my favorite Kingdom Hearts game. I think it's got the best battle system, the best worlds, the best story, best villains. Everything about it is just like, wow. This is that one that, like, the whole time I played it, nothing else mattered. It's just really, really good. It's hard to explain. I mean, Kingdom Hearts is such a crazy series to begin with. But it's so good. Like, if you haven't played Kingdom Hearts 2, you got to play it. Scott, I know you have the game, so you need to get on that and get to Kingdom Hearts 2.
Yep, I'm working through Kingdom Hearts 1 slowly but surely.
It takes basically all the ideas, in my opinion, from Kingdom Hearts 1 and just makes it better. It expands on all that stuff, which is really cool.
Okay. Nice.
And then finally, number 1, I've mentioned this before, Final Fantasy VIII is my favorite game ever. It's my favorite RPG, my favorite Final Fantasy. It's just number 1. It's actually my computer background.
Yeah, nice.
I got a picture from that, and I have on my work keys, I've got a Final Fantasy VIII keychain. Basically, just everything about it. Squall is one of those people that I think, when I think of cool, I think of him. There's him, Tony Sly from a band, and Eric Peterson from a band. Those are the 3 that like personify cool for me, and Squall is like, he's it, man. The love, the romance between him and Renault is perfect. The characters, everything about it. I know it gets a lot of shit for the gameplay, but just don't be fucking bad at it, and it's not bad.
Yeah, I was like, that's the one Final Fantasy I never did actually play. Like I went from 7 and jumped into 9.
It's got a weird battle system in the sense that you're using junctions, so you're taking element or spells and stuff and junctioning into stats to boost those. You can break the game very easily. There's super overpowered attacks and stuff that you can just completely break the game. One of the things that kind of turned the JRPG on its head was you're supposed to grind in these games to get stronger, but in Final Fantasy VIII, the stronger you get, the stronger your enemies get.
Oh yeah.
So, in my most recent playthrough, I'm on almost on disc 4, I believe, and I'm only at level, I think, 15 or 16.
Oh wow.
Because I avoid
Whoa.
I avoid random battles. I don't really do much. And the bosses are still difficult, but if you in the let's say you jump all the way up to level 99, you're basically fighting super bosses every single time. Every boss you're gonna fight is gonna super boss, so you're strong enough to do it, but it changes things. So I don't grind in Final Fantasy VIII. I just kind of let it go, avoid random battles when I can. But there's reasons to fight and all that stuff. But yeah, it's my favorite game ever.
Nice. That's a great list, actually.
Thank you.
And
It's
yeah,
very
a couple of those I
well-rounded.
expected.
What was that?
It's very well rounded.
Yeah. I probably could throw some sports games on there because I played a fuck ton of sports games. There's obviously notable.
Boo.
There's some honorable mentions. Resident Evil 5. I loved that.
Oh yeah, that's not enough to make my list, but it's like right there.
Yeah, like Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I loved that. There's a lot that I really, really enjoyed. They just didn't quite crack that list.
Right.
I could throw Kingdom Hearts 1. I there's a lot that's really, really good. And it just didn't quite crack the list, but those are definitely the top 5.
Yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, I guess I can jump into my top 5. Let's see. So for me, number 5, this is a fairly recent game that jumped on this list, kind of like your Persona 5, and that's The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. This game stole my life for probably about a year and a half. Like, I focused on nothing but this game for, I'd say, like months and months at a time, and then it's one of those games where I could come or leave to try another game and then come back to it and still remember exactly what I was doing, how to play it, like all the controls, everything still was familiar to me. Needless to say, I still have not finished everything in the game. I still have both expansions to play, but when I beat the main story, I was at 325 hours.
Good lord.
Yeah, that's just because.
How much of that was Gwent?
Probably about
20?
30 hours.
20? No, only 30?
About 30 hours was Gwent, but the rest was finding all the question marks and trying to like just unlock every question mark that's on the map. So I would spend a lot of time in Skellige, like on the water, just like finding every like barrel that was sitting in the water and collecting that and going to every little island. I cleared out every question mark.
It's one it's one that I want to beat this year, and I've been rewatching Game of Thrones, and it's been making me want to play The Witcher. So I might jump into it today. I really want to read the books too. Have you read the books?
I actually have the audio books for them, but I have not got a chance to listen to them yet because
my boss tells me about how great they are, so I've been wanting to pick them up. So
yeah,
I will be right back. You guys keep going, okay?
Okay.
I'll be right back, but keep going.
All right. But yeah, there's also the Witcher TV series coming to Netflix that's supposed to be coming out this year too. So I'm kind of
end of 2019. I'm pretty interested to see what that's going to be like. Fill a gap that's going to be left by Game of Thrones.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm excited to see how that goes.
But yeah, like the this is like I was saying though, I put like 40 or 50 hours in, and then a new game would come out that I want to try, so I'd pause it, come back, beat the other game that I was playing, then come back to it and put another
Yeah.
50, 60 hours in. I just love it because it's massive open world. It's a bleak style storyline. It's not your typical hero saves the world type thing. I mean, it is, but it isn't.
Yeah.
And he's not like the chosen one. He's just Geralt of Rivia is just a badass.
Yeah, no, it looks awesome. I'm definitely gonna jump into it soon.
Yeah, this I could see this going up higher on my list, like when I get back into the expansions for sure.
For sure.
But my number 4 is probably the only PC game that I've ever been obsessed with, and that was the Neverwinter Nights.
Oh my god, my dad played that all the time.
I love this game. Like, it was one of the first PC games I ever played, and then it's one of those where I've always gone back to it because I'm a huge D&D nerd. So, like, all the customization and being able to, like, choose your feats, pick your attributes, and your character class and whatnot just was, like, I had fun creating the characters, like, that I did playing the game, but even playing the game was still a lot of fun, and there was just like a ton to explore. Like I think I beat the game like 4 or 5 different times throughout my life, and I even have it on my laptop right now because
Did you play Divinity: Original Sin?
Yes, and that reminds me a lot of Neverwinter.
I would say, I mean, I haven't played Neverwinter Nights, but I played Divinity 1 and 2. Divinity: Original Sin 1 and 2. I didn't play the original Divinities, because I'm not a PC nerd.
Right.
But it sounds like that's definitely the same concept. That or Pillars of Eternity. If you haven't played that yet, that was really good.
Yeah, Obsidian was completely inspired by Neverwinter Nights and Baldur's Gate.
I was gonna say Baldur's Gate.
Baldur's Gate.
And yeah, they wanted to create a game like that. So yeah, Pillars of Eternity is right up there. It reminds that's another game I need to dive into.
What was that PS2 game? Was it Champions of Norath?
Champions of Norath 2 almost made my list. Champions of Norath 2 is one of the greatest games. Return to Arms was like so awesome.
Wasn't that the same concept though? I mean, it's been forever since I played it, so I could be totally wrong.
Yeah, it's a lot like Baldur's Gate. It's like an overhead.
Well, those ones were more dungeon crawler, like the Diablo style, I would say.
I don't know about. Okay, I have to interject. The cool thing, and this is something that I hadn't come across before on PS2. The cool thing about Champions of Norath and Return to Arms was that you could choose to be either good or evil, and whatever you did depended on because it was still linear. You'd still follow the same storyline, but you'd be able to go to different places. Like you'd be let into different places depending on if you chose good or evil. And I'm like, this is so fucking cool. So yeah, I just had to say that it almost made my list. It didn't quite, but it almost made it.
Yeah, I'm kind of I think Neverwinter Nights was the first choosing to be good or evil or neutral, because you had lawful good, neutral good, chaotic neutral, lawful evil.
That was Dungeon Hack for me.
Yeah, you could pretty much do anything there, and I loved that because I would make different character for each style. So I'd have like my lawful good paladin and my chaotic neutral rogue that would turn into an assassin. I just had to play each one, and when I play characters, I get sucked into that character and I role play as that character. So there's no breaking the walls. I am whatever my character would say is what I would say. It's just yep, okay. So I'm gonna be, if I'm chaotic neutral, oh sure, I'll help this old lady up while pickpocketing her at the same time. Yep, I will play the characters full on like that. There's no deviating from the path.
Did you talk like your character for a week after?
No, surprisingly, I didn't get that stuck in my head.
I think this group would be fun to do a Harmon Quest-esque.
Oh, that would be great.
That would be awesome. We might have to think about that sometime in the future for a YouTube video.
For sure. So yeah, I'll jump on to my number 3 then. Number 3 for me is Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. I put so much time into this game with my friends back in the day. Like the memories I have for this, like I would go to my grandmother's house and she had this tiny TV down in the basement. So I would hook up my my system downstairs and I would invite a couple of my friends over from the neighborhood and we would stay down in the basement for probably a good like 6-7 hours just like beating the crap out of each other and trying to figure out like the combos and try to figure out the brutalities and the friendships, the babalities, the animalities, and all the fatalities. Like and even the stage fatalities that they had. Like and just the roster of characters was just so massive and ridiculously like from like just having all of the different ninjas being available, like including Ermac, Rain, and Cyrex and Sector. Those were just like some of the fun characters. Like some of these characters sucked, but they were still just a lot of fun to play around as. And yeah, this one I don't have a lot to say just because it's Mortal Kombat. But it was just like this one brought back a good memory of mine and is still one of my favorite Mortal Kombat games. But
Cool.
for number 2, was that?
I said cool.
Oh, okay. But for number 2, this is Final Fantasy Tactics for the PlayStation 1.
It's so good.
I lost so much time in this game. I am a sucker for the tactical strategy games like Shining Force and things like that. So just having the whole grid-based combat, I love that. And the fact that you can cross-class with all the different jobs and like basically customize and create your own individual personal characters to fit any situation you needed. It just became an obsession of mine to like unlock every job for every character and then like just add the abilities from each job to whatever character. So I'd have a knight that had the ability to run up walls because he was a ninja at one point, and I'd have a summoner that would just wipe out everything on the battlefield, and a healer that would pretty much heal us up in like one shot. Like the one thing I learned and became obsessed with was, especially early on, is to wipe out the enemies except for one, and then have your healer come up, heal the enemy, and then you keep beating up on the enemy and healing him over and over and over again. So you just kept getting more job points and just kept building your characters up without actually moving on to the next battle.
Yeah,
And
that game's got a lot going on with it.
it does. And like I think I was level 99 with all of my characters by the time I ended up going and finally beating the game. Like at that point, it was like 100 something hours into it because I was just obsessed and wanted to keep adding more to my characters.
It's definitely one of the saddest Final Fantasies. I mean, it's a very serious story, very sad.
Oh, it really is.
You can also completely like fuck yourself and get into an unwinnable battle if you haven't leveled up enough because of, if I remember correctly, there was auto saving, and if you went too far ahead and you hadn't been leveling up and everything, you'd get yourself in basically a position where you weren't gonna win because you weren't high enough level. It reminds me of another game. I don't know if you guys have played this, but Tactics Ogre Let's Cling Together, or Let Us Cling Together. Very similar to Final Fantasy. Yeah, very similar to Final Fantasy Tactics. Very like morally ambiguous. No matter what you pick, it's probably the wrong answer. And that's just kind of, if you liked Final Fantasy Tactics, you'd probably really enjoy that one.
Nice. Yeah, that's one I'll definitely have to look into then, because yeah, I do love that style of game, and whenever I can, like I always kind of like you were saying with I think it was Persona 5 that you would buy it for any system. That's pretty much Tactics for me. Like any system it's come out on, I've bought it for.
I have it on my phone.
Yep. I had it on my phone. I have it on my Vita. I have it on PlayStation. I had the PlayStation 1, and then I think I had it for something else, but I forget what it was. But well, time to move on to my number 1, and this is the game that I became obsessed with and became the fanboy that I am now thanks to this game, and that is The Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind.
That's not a big surprise.
No, if you guys know me, you know my obsession with like this series, and this game
Yep.
particularly was the one that sucked me in, because the way I'm gonna admit something here, I had a modded Xbox, the OG Xbox, and like I would just like rent games and download them, and
Oh, jeez.
yeah, I was one of those assholes. Like, but
Trash.
but I don't think I would have ever tried this game if it was not for that, because I just said, "Oh, this looks interesting. All right, I'll rent it and download." The very first time I played this game, I was so lost, confused, and didn't know what the hell I was doing that I absolutely hated it and gave up. Because unlike games now where we have like GPS style trackers to figure out where you're supposed to go next, Morrowind would basically just say, "Oh, so you need to do this mission? Okay, you gotta head northeast until you reach a fork in the road, and when you reach this fork in the road, you'll see a house with this many windows. Turn left at that and go east, blah blah blah." Like, it would actually give you like directions like that, and you'd have to pull up your map and read like the journal and everything else like that over and over again to figure out where you were going. And you would have to look for these particular landmarkers and all this stuff that you would have to ask multiple people about before you could actually like know exactly where you're going.
Yeah.
That's
So it
kinda
was-
how you can play something like that in Assassin's Creed almost in Odyssey, is where you can either have the map on where you can find out where you're going, or you can turn the map markers off where you know the general area of where you're supposed to start, but you have to ask around to find out where you're supposed to go.
That's how I played Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Yeah.
That's the
Okay, that's
the
how I'm gonna do
recommended.
it then.
That's
Yeah,
the
so-
recommended setting. Yeah.
You can have it to where you have your trail marked and you can follow it exactly, or you can be like, "Oh, you need to go to, Giza," and it'll give you like the general area, and then you have to ride around and find out, okay, who do I have to talk to find out where this person is.
Okay, now you guys just sold me on playing it that way, because that's
Yeah.
what I loved about this. But yeah, like that was what intimidated me about this game, so I gave up and never played it again. However,
That's
About
not
a-
Giza. Wait a second. I'm thinking Origins. Yes, Odyssey. Sorry.
Oh,
As you were. I'm like mixing up Odyssey and Origins, but yeah, you know what I mean. Just
yeah. But yeah, one of like about a year later, my friend ended up getting a hold of me and was just like, "You really need to play this Elder Scrolls Morrowind game." And I'm like, "It just wasn't my thing." And he's like, "Dude, trust me." He's like, "There's this in-game thing that you can do where you can pretty much become a god, and it's not a cheat code. It's just a combination of spells that you can use that will turn your character into a god." So he gave me the list of what I had to do, and it was like all these different spells that you had to buy, and then you would like cast them on yourself like a permanency spell, and you would just like increase your strength, your luck. Pretty much every one of your attributes would just shoot up to a couple thousand.
Huh.
So I could walk around the game and pretty much one shot everything that came in my way. But like most of the time when it comes to god modes like that, I don't care for them, because it defeats the purpose of the challenge.
Mhm.
But with this game, there was just so much to explore that I didn't mind being a god and just kind of just walking around and seeing everything. And when I played in that way, I played it maybe like 20, 30 hours like that. It inspired me to go back and actually play it the original way. So I didn't use any of the spells, and then just, played it how you were supposed to. And I became completely and utterly obsessed with this game, made like 8 or 9 characters, each one different class, different style, different play style, did all different things with them. And I ended up putting about 500 hours in with all my characters. Like, and I still to this day have it on my laptop and play it whenever I feel the urge, because I just love this game to death. It is the greatest game for me of all time. It's like the one thing that these newer Elder Scrolls games just don't get is, well, at least for me, I think they've streamlined it a little too much to get more people involved, which obviously that's worked for them because, Skyrim sold a shit ton. But like one of the things I loved about Elder Scrolls was the customization. So with armor, instead of like, oh, you had your boots, your greaves, your chest plate, and your gloves and helmet, you had your left boot, your right boot, your left greave, your right greave, your chest piece, your right glove, your left glove, your shoulder pads, each, and you could have individual shoulder pads and a helmet. Like you could pretty much make a mix mash of all this different armor and put it on your character. And sometimes it looked absolutely ridiculous and stupid, and other times it just looked like this conglomeration of just awesomeness because the abilities on it and like the look of the armor. And I mean, you killed gods in this game as well, so that was always another exciting thing to deal with, was trying to find the gods and kill them. And there's and one of the spells that they got rid of from part 4 on, levitation. You could actually walk into the sky and just walk over whatever you wanted and then come back down. Like, it was granted a limited time amount that you had to use it, but yeah, you could literally fly up into the sky and just walk in the air and then walk wherever you wanted. And I think that would, if with the games now, it would probably break Oblivion and Skyrim if you could do that, but I would still love to walk in the air and fight a dragon in the midair. But yeah, Elder Scrolls 3, Morrowind, one of the greatest games of all time, in my opinion. And I will fight anybody who argues with me.
Well, I guess that's me. This was hard. This was really, really hard for me because I love so many games. And well, you guys are gonna make fun of me. Please don't make fun of me, but you're gonna make fun of me.
I won't.
Number 5, my favorite was Final Fantasy 15. I loved it so much. And everyone was just like, it's nothing but like a brocation and these like dudes going out. And I loved it so much. I got so like invested in the stories of like Prompto and Ignis. I could care less about Gladio. He's a beefcake, but whatever. And Noctis, and I was just so invested, and like in the end I'm like crying like a little bitch, and just I'm like, oh my gosh. And the fact that I pay, like, we have the Royal Edition, season pass, like all of that, and then that content was canceled, I was devastated. Like, we get episode Arden, and that's it. No Luna Freya. No, it's just, oh my god, I was so mad.
Yeah, I remember when I dropped that news, you were not happy.
I'm still not happy. I'm still infuriated, but I still love the game so much. It's 100+ hours. I've beaten the game, but then there's stuff that you have to go back and do after you have beaten the game. You can't get to it until you're done, and so now it's going back and doing all those, doing the extra content in the Royal Edition, and episode Arden, which I'll get, which sucks. But it's a beautiful, it's a great story. The characters are amazing, and the amount of loyalty that it's like, yeah, it's just like a bunch of bros going fishing and going on a road trip. Yeah, for the first half of the game, and then the second half gets so heavy and emotional, and just the loyalty between this group of people is just insane, and I love it. So that's my number 5.
Nice.
And I get made fun of constantly for that being my favorite Final Fantasy game, but whatever. Don't at me, kids. It's my favorite. So my number 4 is the old school point and click adventure, Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis. Super nostalgic for me. I've played it so many times. There's 4 different ways that you can play the game. There's like a co-op one where you work together with another character. There's fisticuffs where you just beat the shit out of everybody.
Nice.
There's just like there's like the intelligent, using your brain more. So there's like 4 different paths that you can go and different ways that you can go in the game, which is so cool. That I when I was younger, okay, so I was like 10 playing this game, like between 8 and 10. This was just a really hard game for an 8 or 10-year-old because there's a lot of puzzles that you have to figure out. So I remember my dad printed out, and it was like this thick, the walkthrough, and it included all the 4 different paths. And I would always follow the same path, but I still have that sheet somewhere, just the old school printed walkthrough, and I watch Let's Plays of it still because I love it so much. So that's
Nice.
definitely, and for the time, I mean, is everything pixelated? Yes, but for the time, like the voice acting was awesome, and it's a really good story. It's Atlantis, obviously. I love Atlantis. It was just really, really neat. So yeah, if you haven't played Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis, it is available on Steam that you can play it, and it's really good. My number 3, Fallout 4. Now, I love the Fallout franchise. I love Fallout 3. I love Fallout New Vegas. Fallout 4 does have some problems, but
Yeah.
It does.
but I love it so much that I forgive it. It's like one of those relationships where you argue a lot, but you still love each other. So, I loved. I do like the old western, like the old westy style of New Vegas, and there's something about Fallout 4 that was just wonderful, and the lore is so intense. Like I have a tendency to watch a lot of Oxhorn, which is a YouTuber who goes into all of them from Fallout 1 to Fallout 76, who goes into the lore of each one. And there was so much like hidden small content, random encounters, just really cool things in Fallout 4. Now, it was the same in the other 2, Fallout 3 and New Vegas, but there's just so much in Fallout 4. Plus, you can hunt down an alien, which is really cool, which I dug a lot. So Fallout 4 is my number 3. My number 2, Uncharted 4.
Still haven't played it.
Oh my
What?
god.
Oh, that's so good.
Now, okay.
Still haven't played it.
I played Uncharted 4 first and then went back and played all of the ones in order. And then when I played Uncharted 4 again, I got all of the references. And then it was just the waterworks. And I'm just like, I'm not ready for this to end. And I was so sad, and it was so beautiful. And the controls were like butter. It was perfect. The grappling, the swinging. After going through and playing the Nathan Drake collection, where I went from 1 to 3, and it's clunky as shit. And half the time when you go to grab something, you don't grab it, and then you fall to your death. And it's like, Nathan! It's, that was... Then playing Fallout 4 again, I'm just like, these controls are just they're so silky. They're so yummy, and the story is great, and the voice acting. I mean, you have, oh god, what is his name? He played Joel.
Troy Baker.
Yes.
Yeah, he plays Sam Drake. So you have those. Oh god, and I know the guy.
For
It's
who?
the guy.
Nathan Drake?
Yeah, the guy who plays him, though.
Nolan North.
Yeah, Nolan North. Which is
I was just trying to look that up.
Yeah, these are the 2 biggest names in video game voice acting, like, ever, right? And you have them both together, and they're so bomb together, and it's just wonderful. And just, if you have Matt, play the game.
I've played 1 through 3. I loved them all. They are near and dear to my heart.
You will love 4.
I just never got. I mean, I didn't have a PS4 when 4 came out, and now
You do, so there's no excuse.
And now you can play it, and it's dirt cheap.
I know, but old
and
games
it's
old.
so good, and there's so much fan service, and it's so
Says
beautiful.
the guy who's playing Final Fantasy VIII and all these old school Final Fantasy games. So yes, old games are old, but they're still fun.
Play the game.
I'll get it eventually.
My number one, I don't know if you guys can guess my number one game.
I'm gonna guess Resident Evil, but which one?
6.
You shut your mouth.
6 is really good, so.
6 is good, but it's basically it's nothing but a giant QuickTime event.
That's fun.
No.
That's fun.
Resident Evil 1.
Nice. I
Resident
almost
Evil-
put Resident Evil 2 on my list.
Now, Resident Evil 2, the remake, definitely almost made my list as one of the best games I have ever played of all time.
That almost made my list.
What?
That almost made my list, too.
Well, and the only reason it didn't, and the only reason Resident Evil 1 made it, is because that's what started it all for me. So, there's something about the mansion, and, when you go down into the underground lab, and then you come up, and then, the hunter, and it's like the running of the hunters from his point of view, and then the music, and I'm talking the original, not the remake.
Yeah.
Or,
I like the remake better.
The remastering, the controls are a lot better, and Jill is just cute as a button. She's beautiful, which is great. But they can't be. I wish they would have included like the original soundtrack and the remastering.
Yeah,
the soundtrack was awesome.
I have a good that was Resident Evil 1 was the game that finally forced me to go out and buy a memory card for my PlayStation. Because I never bothered with memory cards before because I would just play and just be like, all right, this game was fun, play it and go move on. Where Resident Evil, I needed to save and I couldn't, so I had to go out and buy myself a memory card.
Back then, you mean we didn't actually use ink ribbons back in the day?
So many ink ribbons.
It was so good. Now this was really hard. Resident Evil 2 remake and Resident Evil 5 was so close to making the list. Legends of Gaia was so close to making the list.
Nice.
I've played that so many times. Champions of North 2 was so close to making the list, and Dying Light was actually really close to making the list.
Nice.
That's a good one.
That is such a good game. And the use of, think about it now. How many games these days have day and night game-changing mechanics where if you stay out after dark, it gets more dangerous? The enemies
making an actual gameplay element rather than just like a background.
Right. Yeah. Right. Like, oh, now it's nighttime, now it's daytime. It's like if there's something about when you look at your watch and it says it's almost 9 p.m. and it's beeping and then a voice comes over and says, hey, get to a safe zone. The sun is setting. Like you have this fight or flight response like, shit, it's almost time. And then once it hits 9 o'clock and you hear the what are those called? The volatiles. You hear the volatiles scream as they come out of the caves or the dark or whatever. And it's just like, ooh.
Well, there's that one first mission that you have to basically get back before, like, it's turning nighttime and you have to get back. You had to go out and reactivate the lights, I believe. It's been a while since I played it, but I just remember you had to go to various points and get them going.
There's that one. That one's a little bit later. The very first mission that you have where you have to be, what's the medicine, the vaccine?
Antizen?
Antizen. There's an Antizen crate that you have to go get and race against the other guy's men to get it. But it's nighttime by the time you get to the crate. So you have to get the Antizen and get back to the safe house, but it's already nighttime. And that is your first taste of what it's like. And you have no choice. That's your first taste of what it's like in playing in the nighttime mechanics. And it is so scary and so intense.
Yeah.
I can't wait for Dying Light 2. I'm so excited.
I can't tell at all.
I'm hiding it really well, aren't I?
You are.
That's it for my list. My list is no surprise. I have no surprises on my list.
Well, actually, I don't know. Yours, like, there were a couple on there that surprised me.
Really?
Uncharted surprised me.
And Fallout 4 and Uncharted were like surprising, like for like especially Fallout 4. I pictured you would have been New Vegas or Fallout 3 over 4.
New Vegas was really close, but there's something special to me about Fallout 4. Uncharted, I'm such a big fan of the Uncharted series that I have Nathan Drake's ring necklace that he wears with Sir Francis Drake's insignia on it. I totally have it.
Nice.
Well, and I have I am a man of fortune. I must seek my fortune on a poster.
Wow.
Yeah, I hide my fandom on that one a little bit more than my Resident Evil one, but yeah, I'm a big Uncharted fan.
Hey, let the nerd flag fly. That's all I gotta say.
All right, you guys.
This was a lot of fun, everybody.
That was fun. Well, thank you guys for listening. As always, you can catch us on YouTube at PopGaming. We are on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. It's all PopGaming Podcast. Where can we find you guys? What's your handles?
I guess I'll go next. You can find me on Facebook at just Scott Crawford. If you want to shoot me a friend request or whatever, say hi. You know, I'm all about that. I'm all about making new friends. I also have the horror movie podcast, the Podcast by the Cemetery. We've been on a bit of a hiatus, but I think we're finally going to record this week. It's been like over a month since we recorded, and you know, schedules are just fun. but yeah, we should be getting back into that. But you can find us on the LegionPodcastNetwork.com. We're also on Spotify. So, yep, just look us up. And there's also a Facebook group, the Podcast by the Cemetery, where we just talk random horror. I bring up video games in there because we do have a what we've been watching, what we've been playing segment in our podcast as well. So occasionally I'll post about video game stuff in our page as well.
What about you, Matt? Where can we find you?
So I really only use Instagram. Facebook is for nerds. Just kidding.
That's right.
My Facebook is, I just really keep that for personal stuff. Instagram though, you can follow me. It's just Matt STUMPF, my last name. It's private, but if you add me, I'll accept you. Just to keep the creepers away. That's about it.
Damn, I was
hoping anything else.
You can find me on YouTube where I do my unboxings for various websites, D.D.Crowley. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at CreepyDDCrowley. And I'm on Facebook, DD Crowley or Creepy Chicken, a Scary Flick, which is kind of where I share my writings and ramblings and things like that. So thank you, everybody, for listening. Please put a comment below of what you want to hear us talk about next time. You know, what's a segment you want us to talk about, and subscribe, follow us, and you can hear us ramble on some more every week. We're pretty cool.
Exactly. And also, please go and check out pophorror.com. Everyone there does amazing work. We do our video game stuff there as well, so check out our video game articles. But also, there's, you know, if you're into horror movies, especially the indie horror, like we are deep in the indie horror community, and we support them like crazy on pophorror.com. So go check them out. Find them on Facebook as well at pophorror.com. But yeah, go show them some love because it is an awesome site.
It is. And also thank you again to Agony, Wilson, Jonathon, Tucker for our intro, outro, and we will see you guys next week.
Yes. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.